do it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Javia Monet, the host of the Echoes of the Void podcast, where I help you explore spirituality from all aspects, recognize your potential, and energize your passion to align with your highest self. Today, we're talking about something that affects literally everything. Your thoughts, your emotions, your choices, your relationships, the ego. Now, real quick, let's clear something up. When people hear ego, they think arrogance. They think someone walking into a room like they're the main character in everyone's story. But ego isn't just about thinking you're the best. It's also that little voice that tells you you're not good enough. It's the part of you that gets defensive in an argument. It's the thing that makes you compare yourself to people you don't even like. And that's why I need to talk to you about it. Today, we're breaking ego down. Segment 1, what is the ego really? And why does it have such a hold on us? Segment 2, how ego influences decision making. Because, God, some of y'all, including me, are making choices based on fear, not facts. Segment 3, how the ego controls human nature, why we compare, why we judge, why we need to be right. Segment 4, ego in religion and spirituality. Oh yes, we're going there. We're going there, yes. And of course, I'll be pulling quotes from The Artist's Way, The Laws of Human Nature, A New Earth, and The Four Agreements. Because if we're gonna dismantle the ego, we need wisdom from all angles. So, before we start, I want you to ask yourself, who am I without my opinions, my beliefs, my accomplishments, my failures? If that question makes you uncomfortable, good. Let's get into it. Segment 1. What even is the ego? So let's start with the basics. What even is the ego? If you're asking psychology, it's the part of the mind that balances impulses with reality. If you're asking spirituality, it's the false self, the identity we build based on external validation. Eckhart Tolle in A New Earth says, the ego is identification with form, possessions, status, thoughts, emotions. It is the false self we build through social conditioning. Sounds like programming to me. And listen, the ego hates being questioned. The second you start asking, wait, is this actually me or just something I was taught? The ego goes into a full panic mode. For example, have you ever held an opinion so strongly, but then later realized you didn't even know why you believed it? Like you just absorbed it from your parents, your environment, your social circle, but the ego doesn't want to admit that. It wants to act like everything you think is your own idea. And see, here's where it gets tricky. The ego is all about comparison. It doesn't just say, I'm successful. It says, I'm more successful than this person. It doesn't say, I'm happy. It says, I'm happier than them. Robert Greene in The Laws of Human Nature says, the ego distorts our perception of reality. We see what we want to see, not what is truly there. Think about it. How many times have you thought you needed something only to get it and realize you don't even care? That's the ego chasing an illusion. It's why people constantly feel like they're not enough, even when they get everything they once prayed for. And that brings me to the next point. Ego's role in decision making, because let's be real, most of us are making choices based on fear, not facts. Segment 2, ego in decision making. Alrighty, let's talk about how ego influences the choices we make. First off, the ego makes decisions off of 3 things. 1, looking good over feeling good. 2, avoiding discomfort instead of embracing growth. 3, seeking validation over truth. For example, have you ever stayed in a relationship way longer than you should have just because you didn't want to be seen as a failure? Or stayed at a job that you hated because the title sounded impressive? That's not logic. That's just your ego being scared of how others will perceive you. In Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, she says, perfectionism is not a quest for the best. It is a pursuit of the worst in ourselves. The part that tells us that nothing we ever do will be good enough. And see that perfectionism, that's ego in disguise. For example, have you ever not started something because you were afraid that it wouldn't be perfect? That's not you being realistic. That's your ego being scared of looking bad. Because here's the truth. The best decisions usually feel like an ego death. So you leave a perfect on paper relationship because it doesn't make you happy. You quit a high-paying job because it doesn't align with your soul. You stop seeking approval from people who are not paying attention. And when you finally let go of that fear, that's when freedom starts. Segment 3, ego and human nature. Now let's talk about ego's grip on human nature. The ego makes us judge people whose choices we don't understand, feel threatened by people's success, stay in competition mode rather than collaboration mode. Robert Greene in The Laws of Human Nature says, the ego creates illusions, but it does not want to be questioned because questioning it would mean questioning reality itself. Have you ever changed your mind about something and then felt weirdly embarrassed about your old belief? That's your ego struggling to reconcile its own evolution. But real growth, it's not about being right. It's about being open. Segment 4, ego in religion and spirituality. Ever notice how some people act like they're more enlightened than everyone else? Like, oh, you still believe that? I'm so much more evolved. That's not spirituality, that's spiritual ego. Eckhart Tolle in A New Earth says, if your spirituality makes you feel superior to others, then it's just another form of ego. And that goes for religion too. Some people use faith to uplift, others use to judge. But real spirituality, it's about connection, not superiority. When you remove the ego from belief systems, you stop needing to be right. You stop needing to prove yourself. You just are. And that's the point. Living in the now, living in the current moment, just be. Living in the present or the past will affect you negatively. Living in the present or the past is what causes anxiety, depression, and sadness. So what's the takeaway? Your ego is not your enemy, but it is a trickster. The more you question it, the more it panics. So the next time you catch yourself saying, this is bad or this is good, stop and ask, is it really? Or is that just my ego talking? I'm already done with all of the information, so let's go ahead and move on to a song, why don't we? Culture Cat. Don't ask. Don't ask. All right, here we go. Didn't you know Getting dizzy, turning circles where confusion grows. A familiar face could embrace me for this landing where I'm standing. Whoa, balloons floating in the sky. I can only go so high. Little warnings are still forming. Whoa, fear falling, but I've already done. Yeah, I'm screaming, but you already won. Purity easily till you look for guidance signs. Fear of falling, but I'm already done. Yeah, I'm screaming, but you already won. Purity easily till you look for guidance signs. And then it's gonna go into like this moment where it reminds me of a 90s song. I'm forgetting about it, but it's like, step one, decentralization of a nation. Step two, focus on you. Step three, leave when you don't like what you see. Nurturing the spirit in me. Fear of falling, but I'm already done. Yeah, I'm screaming, but you already won. Purity easily till you look for guidance signs. Fear of falling, but I'm already done. Yeah, I'm screaming, but you already won. Purity easily till you look for guidance signs. That's like the bones of the bear song right now. I'm playing. All right, let's close this out.
Hurry up!
All right, y'all. That's it for today. If this episode made you rethink some things, share it with a friend. And remember, you are not your ego. You are something so much bigger. And as always, embrace the void.